I hope you all are good and you are safe at your home. Children, this is your social science book and this is the history part. Reading chapter 9, The Making of National Movement, the 1870s to 1940, and today I will give you the exercise of the chapter. So, children, let's start. Question 1. Why were people dissatisfied with British rule in the 1870s and 1880s? Answer. There was great dissatisfaction with British rule in the 1870s and 1880s. Some of the reasons for this dissatisfaction are as follows. The Arms Act passed in 1878. This act disallowed Indians from possessing arms. Second, the Vernacular Press Act in 1878. This act was aimed at silencing those who were critical of the government. Under this act, the government could confiscate the assets of newspapers if they published anything that was found objectionable. So children, third, Ilbert Bill controversy. In 1883, the government tried introducing the Ilbert Bill. This bill provided for the trial of British or European individuals by Indians and sought equality between British and Indian judges in the country. However, the white opposition forced the government to withdraw the bill. This enraged the Indian further. So children, जो लोग थे ब्रिटिश रूल से डिससेटिस्फाइड थे, उसका कारण क्या था? उन्होंने आर्म्स एक्ट लगाया था 1878 में, उसके बाद वर्नाकुलर एक्ट लगाया था और इल्बर्ट बिल लाया था. तो आर्म्स एक्ट में इंडियंस को आर्म्स रखना अलाउ नहीं था और वर्नाकुलर एक्ट में, प्रेस एक्ट में उन्होंने प्रेस की आज़ादी को छीन लिया था. इल्बर्ट बिल जो था उसमें भी बहुत ज़्यादा कंट्रोवर्सी थी, जो ट्रायल के बिना ही इंडियंस को वो अपराधी घोषित करके जेल में डाल देते थे, या ब्रिटिश और इंडियंस की इक्वालिटी डिसइक्वालिटी को शो करता था, उनके साथ भेदभाव स्पष्ट रूप से शो करता था. Who did the Indian National Congress wish to speak for? Answer. Indian National Congress wished to speak for all the people of India, irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language or gender. It stated that India, its resources and systems were not of any one class or community of India, but of all the different community of India. तो children, इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस जो थी वह, उसकी क्या इच्छा थी, किस चीज़ के लिए उन्होंने बोला था? तो इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस की इच्छा थी कि भारत के जो लोग हैं वो जो डिफरेंस आपस में जो क्लास को लेकर या लैंग्वेज को लेकर या जेंडर या कास्ट को लेकर होता है उसे छोड़ दें और सभी एकजुट हो करके जो क्लास और कम्युनिटी हैं भारत के, वो सभी एकजुट हो करके और भारत के लिए जो है वो भारत के विषय में सोचें और ब्रिटिशर्स के अगेंस्ट में एकजुट होकर के काम करें. What economic impact did the First World War have on India? Answer. The First World War led to a huge rise in the defense expenditure of the government of India. The government in turn increased taxes on individual incomes and business profits. Increased military expenditure and the demands for war supplies led to a sharp rise in prices, which creates great difficulties for the common people. On the other hand, business groups reaped fabulous profits from the war. The war created a demand for industrial goods such as jute bags, cloths and rails, and caused a decline in the imports from other countries into India. As a result, Indian industries expanded during the वार। सो चिल्ड्रन, फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वार का क्या इम्पैक्ट पड़ा, इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट हमारे भारत में, कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वार जो था उसकी वजह से बहुत डिफेंस के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपेंडिचर होने लगा, मिलिट्री की एक्सपेंडिचर्स की डिमांड बढ़ गई और जो वार की जो आइटम्स होते हैं उनकी सप्लाई ज़्यादा होने लगी। तो इससे कॉमन पीपल जो थे उन्हें काफ़ी परेशानियां होने लगी। वहीं पर जो बिजनेसमैन थे उन्हें काफ़ी फ़ायदा हुआ। और वार जो थी इसने इंडस्ट्रियल गुड्स जैसे जूट बैग हैं, क्लॉथ्स हैं, रेल हैं, इन सब की जो डिमांड्स थी उनको डेक्लाइन लगभग कर दिया था। What did the Muslim League resolution of 1940 ask for? Answer: the Muslim League resolution of 1940 asked for independent states for Muslims in the northwestern and eastern areas of the country. मुस्लिम लीग 1940 में जब रेजोल्यूशन उन्होंने किया, 1940 के रेजोल्यूशन में इंडिपेंडेंट स्टेट्स की मांग की मुस्लिम ने, तो नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न और ईस्टर्न एरियाज के इस क्षेत्र में उन्होंने ये मांग की थी। Who were the moderates? How did they propose to struggle against British rule? In the first 20 years of its existence, the Congress was moderate in its objectives and methods. The Congress leaders of this period were called the moderates. They proposed to struggle against British rule in non-violent manner, which the radicals called politics of petitions. They wanted to develop public awareness about the unjust nature of British rule. They published newspapers, wrote articles, and showed how the British rule was leading to the economic ruin of the country. They criticized British rule in their speeches and sent representatives to different parts of the country to mobilize public opinion. They felt that the British had respect for the ideals of freedom and justice, and so would expect the just demands of Indians. How was the politics of the radicals within the Congress different from that of the moderates? The radicals were opposed to the politics of prayers, followed by the moderates within the Congress. They explored more radical objectives and methods. They emphasized the importance of self-reliance and constructive work. They argued that people must rely on their own strength, not on the good intentions of the government, as was the stated policy of the moderates. They believed that people must fight for स्वराज। तो चिल्ड्रन, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया था कि मॉडरेट्स थे और रेडिकल्स थे। रेडिकल्स जो थे, जो प्रेयर की पॉलिटिक्स थी उसके खिलाफ में होते थे और वो ये चाहते थे कि हम अपना अधिकार अपने शान से लें और प्रेयर करके ना लें। Discuss the various forms that the non-cooperation movement took in different parts of India. How did the people understand Gandhiji? Answer: during 1921 and 22, the non-cooperation movement gained momentum. Thousands of students left government-controlled schools and colleges. Many lawyers gave up their practices. British titles were surrendered. Legislatures were boycotted. People lit public bonfires of foreign cloths. In most cases, the calls for non-cooperation were related to local grievances. In Kheda, Gujarat, Patidar peasants organized non-violent campaigns against the high land revenue demand of the British. In coastal Andhra and interior Tamil Nadu, liquor shops were picketed. In the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, tribals and poor peasants protested against the colonial state for restricting their use of forest resources. They staged a number of forest satyagrahas, sometimes sending their cattle into forest without paying grazing fee. In Punjab, the Akali agitation of the Sikhs sought to remove corrupt mahants supported by the British from their gurudwaras. In Assam, tea garden labourers demanded a big increases in their wages. When the demands were not met, they left the British-owned plantations. People thought Gandhiji as Masiha, someone who could help them overcome their misery and poverty. Peasants believed that he would help them in their fight against jamidars while agricultural laborers felt that he would provide them with land. Why did Gandhiji chose the break the salt law? Answer: Gandhiji chose the break the salt law as British government had a monopoly on the manufacture and sale of salt. It also imposed a tax on the sale of salt. Gandhiji believed that it was sinful to tax salt as it was as essential part of food. He led a march to the coastal town of Dandi, where he broke the salt law by gathering natural salt found on the seashore and boiling seawater to produce salt. This march related the general desire of freedom to a specific grievances shared by everybody and thus did not divide the rich and the poor. Discuss those developments of the 1937 to 47 period that led to the creation of Pakistan. Answer: The development leading to the creation of Pakistan, a two-nation theory. From the late 1930s, the Muslim League began viewing the Muslims as a separate nation from the Hindus. Provincial elections of 1937. The provincial elections of 1937 convinced the League that Muslims were a minority and they would always have to play second fiddle in any democratic structure. It feared that Muslims may even go unrepresented. Rift between Congress and Muslim League. In 1937, the Congress rejected the Muslim League's proposal for a joint Congress League government in the United Provinces. This annoyed the League. Wide mass support base for Muslim League. In the 1930s, the Congress failed to mobilize the Muslim masses. This allowed the Muslim League to widen its social support. It sought to enlarge its support in the early 1940s when most Congress leaders were in jail. Failure of talk. At the end of the Second World War in 1945, the British opened negotiations between the Congress, the League and themselves for the independence of India. However, the talks failed as the League saw itself as the sole spokesperson of India's Muslims, and the Congress could not accept this claim since a large number of Muslims still supported it. Provincial elections of 1946. Elections to the provinces were again held in 1946. The Congress did well in the general constituencies, but the League's success in the seats reserved for Muslims was spectacular. This led to more demand for a separate nation for Muslims. So children, ये मैंने आपको अच्छी तरह से ये सारे जो लेसन है क्लास में भी समझाया हुआ है. तो यदि आपको कोई डाउट हो तो आप क्लास में पूछ सकते हैं. यहाँ आपकी एक्सरसाइज फिनिश होती है. नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम नेक्स्ट चैप्टर को स्टार्ट करेंगे. टिल देन, गुड डे.